Yes, hey everyone, welcome back to the predictions video. It's time to predict game week 10 of the A-League season. But first, before we get into the guests for this week, let's see how we did last week. I picked up 4 points for myself, only getting the result, no correct results for me. Lachlan picked up 5 points for the guest with 1 correct result in that Wellington Western Sydney game. So what does that do for the scores? I am now on 34 and the guests are slowly catching up. They're on 30. But now it's time to meet our guest for the week. It's Marty from the Marty Mariner Show. Marty, thanks for joining us on the predictions this week. How have you been?
Mate, I have been good. Been the busy Christmas season and all. I'm probably still half in a food coma, but all is well, mate. How was your break?
Yeah, good, bit quiet. Obviously getting back into the swing of things now, so busy times ahead.
Absolutely, mate. But the football is back.
Absolutely. Luckily, the football doesn't stop too much for us.
Absolutely.
All right, let's get stuck into it. First game of the week, it's Melbourne City taking on the Brisbane Roar. Brisbane Roar have had a bit of a shake-up since their last game. Ross Aloisi is no longer at the club. Could this call for a new manager bounce? I think so. I think they're going to want to impress the new interim manager. And Melbourne City, I think, have just been caught unlucky with the timing of this. They are on a bit of a hot streak at the moment, and getting that draw to Melbourne victory last week is no mean feat in itself. But Brisbane Roar win this for me, and I am going to go with a 3-1 win. All right, game 1, we have Melbourne City taking on the Brisbane Roar. Now, obviously, Brisbane Roar no longer with Ross Aloisi. Could there possibly be a new manager bounce with this game?
Well, it's probably a good team to play against when you think about it. I mean, City away, as much as City haven't dominated as much this year as they have in past seasons, but they're kind of on a bit of a, I wouldn't say a bounce, but they're kind of needing to find some form themselves. So it's probably quite a desperate game for both clubs if you sort of put it in that kind of mind for differing reasons. Obviously, the Mariners did a pretty decent job over Brisbane recently, and probably should have beaten City the week before that if it wasn't for a late goal. So I think this one's going to be a really, really tight game, but I can see City sneaking home by a goal.
Yep, no worries. And exact scoreline, you're thinking like a 2-1, maybe both teams get on the score sheet?
Yeah, I think Brizzy will get one in, so let's go with a 2-1.
The next game in this game week is Sydney FC playing host to Wellington Phoenix, the high-flying Phoenix. Will they get a win in this one and extend their lead over the top of the table? I think they will. I think they want to get a little bit of revenge against Ufuk Talay. Obviously, he left the club on good terms, but I think they're going to want to show what he missed out by not staying at the club. I reckon that Wellington win this one. I'm going to go 2-1. Obviously, Sydney don't have the best record at Allianz, and I think that continues in this game. And then second game of the week, we got Sydney FC playing another home game to Wellington. But Wellington top of the table. Can they extend their lead at the top?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's well known Wellington's definitely my second team in the competition, and I mean they've been playing some really good football. But again, we're talking about new managers coming in and bouncers and teams looking for points, and Sydney won't like where they are in the table, and they'll want to make their move. And I actually think they're going to get up in this one. I think it'll be a 1-0 to Sydney. I actually think they'll take the points here. I think there's been some signs in Sydney games, not all of their 90 minutes, but been some signs. So, yeah, I think they might actually take the points here in a 1-0.
Now moving on to the Jets taking on Western United at McDonald Jones Stadium. Jets have been inconsistent with their form this year. They've looked really good at times, especially against Wellington a couple of weeks ago. And Western United obviously occupying that bottom spot on the table. Do they finally push themselves off the bottom of the table in this one? I don't think so. I think the Jets get the win here. I'm going to go with a 3-0 win. Maybe Apostolos Thanopoulos will get a couple of goals in this game and push towards that golden boot now that Fornaroli is off to Asia Cup. And then third game of the week, we have Jets playing host to Western United. Two teams in a bit of a struggle at the moment. Western United obviously only picking up the 2 wins so far. It's the same with the Jets, but Jets have just picked up a few extra points with draws. Can Western United finally find some consistent form in this one?
Yeah, well, you're not going to get many games where I'm going to tip the Jets to win it, so I'm probably going to be very biased in that respect to start off with, right? But look, again, and as we've said in each of the games, it's kind of one of those really key games. It's that time of the year now where you really want to start picking up points. I do think the Jets are going to get up. I think the home ground advantage will probably just do it for them. I think it'll be a close game. I still think there'll be a goal in it, but I actually think maybe a 3-2 to the Jets. I actually think both defenses are a bit suspect at times, and I think there may be a few goals. So 3-2 to the Jets for me.
Then after that Jets game, it's time for the original rivalry part 2 for this season. The first one obviously ending in chaos with the 2 red cards in that game and only a 1-1 draw. Can Victory finish the game off unlike they did last time, or can Adelaide give Victory their first loss of the season? I don't think either. I think it's going to be another draw, maybe a bit more high scoring. I'm going to go with a 2-2 draw in this one. And then we have another game on Saturday, the OG rivalry coming back for the second time this season. The second time it's being played in Melbourne. And will Adelaide finally give Victory their first loss of the season?
No, I don't think so. I think Victory will do this one in all of the games. None of them are comfortable, but I think if any, I think are probably more set. I think Victory are playing pretty damn well, and I think they're 2-0 winners in this game. Adelaide, I love the football that they play, but they just don't seem to have that X factor with them at the moment. And I just think Victory will be too strong in Melbourne. So, 2-0 to the Victory for me.
And then we've got the New Year's Eve game down at Gosford, where Central Coast Mariners will play host to Perth Glory at that beautiful Industry Group Stadium. That will look great with the fireworks happening over the river. Anyway, back onto the game. Mariners have really found their footing in the last couple of weeks. Angel Torres has scored 5 in 2 games. Perth Glory, bit hit and miss, obviously getting that late winner over Macarthur last week. Can they find some form off the back of that? I don't think so. I think the Mariners have looked really good in the last couple of weeks, and they're going to push for their top 6 spot like they feel like they deserve after winning the comp last season. I'm going to go for a Mariners. I think it's going to be a bit high scoring, a bit of a New Year's Eve firecracker game. I'm going to go with a 4-1 win for the Mariners. And then your team, the Mariners, playing host to the Glory on New Year's Eve. Mariners kind of finally finding their feet under Mark Jackson. And how good has Angel Torres been over the last couple of weeks?
Very much so. It's just it's very reminiscent of a Benny Nkololo from last season, where he started. Was a bit scratchy at the start, had to find his feet, but once he did, he could turn a game himself. And I think we may have seen that turning point for Torres. I think he's a class player, and he's certainly made a difference to that final third of the field. Obviously with Nizzy in behind too, and with a bit of revelation in that 10 role. So, I mean, I'm not going to pick anything else but a Central Coast Mariners win. Of course, it's our New Year's Eve doubleheader out at Industry Group Stadium as well, which will be fantastic. I'll give us a 2-0 win on the night. And
the first game of 2024 is the Wanderers taking on Macarthur. Bit of that Western Sydney rivalry going on in this game. Wanderers haven't looked real convincing in the last few weeks, have they? I think only 1 win in their last 4, and Macarthur bottling it last week really against Perth, up 2-0 at halftime and losing that game 3-2. Can Macarthur start 2024 like they started this season? I don't think so. I think going out to CommBank Stadium, it will be too big of a task for them. Obviously, they've looked really good. I think they'll still make the 6, and I think Wanderers will start 2024 like they means to go on. And I think they pick up the win in this one. I don't think it's going to be overly high scoring. I think it might be a 2-0 Wanderers win. And then the final game of the week, it's a New Year's Day game being played on a Monday. Wanderers are taking on Macarthur. 2 teams kind of slipping in their form in the last few weeks. But how does this one play out for you?
Yeah, again, and it goes back to those other games though, where both sides really just need those 3 points to more so to stabilise their season. I mean, Macarthur were outstanding the first part of the year. Just started to, as you said, sort of slip all over the place. I think the Wanderers are the toughest team to pick in the comp. I think there's games you could tip them to beat anybody, and there's also games where you think, I'm not guaranteed the 3 points. So I'm going to go with the Wanderers because they're at home. I think it'll only be a goal in it. Let's go with 2-1 to the Wanderers.
Thanks for joining us, Marty. Where can the people find you if they want to get in touch?
Mate, you can find us on YouTube on the Marty Mariner Show. We're also on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and all of your favorite podcasting platforms. You can listen to us rather than look at us, and that's not such a bad thing sometimes as well. And check us out on the Facebook page too, the Marty Mariner Show.
No worries. Thank you again, Marty, for joining us.
No problem, mate. Thank you.
Once again, thank you for Marty for coming on the predictions videos. I'll leave all of his links in the description. Make sure you go check him out, especially if you're a Mariners fan. Lots of Mariners content, both men and women's. But thank you all for watching this week of the predictions video. Make sure you subscribe. We're trying to get to 100 subscribers by the end of January. But once again, thank you all for watching. Make sure you like, subscribe, share the video around. Really appreciate if you could do that. And until next time, I'll see you soon.